GamerFitNation's BlackBible, and we're here to check out Wakfu. It's my man Franco. He's the producer behind this title. And he's going to tell us a little bit about the story. I mean, I'm going to be honest, the last time I played a strategy game like this was Vandal Hearts, but I'm actually really interested because I always wanted to play strategy games. So let my man break it down. So tell me about the story.
So Wakfu takes place 1,000 years after a cataclysmic event. And really the characters are trying to figure out what happened. They have the lore of what happened. It's legend, but they're not sure. So everyone's trying to figure out what happened, how it happened, and how to keep it from happening again. So in Wakfu, it's a tactical MMORPG. So you're playing online with other players, and it's a tactics-based game just like Final Fantasy Tactics. And there's some really interesting elements to it. There's an ecosystem in the game, so those plants, resources, animals, and monsters can actually go extinct in the game world, and you need to keep them there because you use those resources to craft items, get some cool gear, and just keep the economy going. There's also a politics system, so you can actually run to be governor of your nation and just have complete control of that nation, and you'll be governor for 2 weeks. But you have to keep your people happy because they can actually impeach you too, so you have to be careful.
So you're saying that basically, I mean, like you said, you take over a nation, but your people can actually uprise and rebel against you? And will you combat them or something?
So the politics system is diplomacy-based. So the way that works is you actually have to campaign and be voted in to be governor. You can be governor for 2 weeks, and if you voted at all during that period, you can say, I like this governor, and say, this governor's doing a great job. There's a popularity meter. If enough people like the governor, there'll be a statue that's erected in town square to let people know this guy knows what he's doing. If enough people dislike you, you'll actually be impeached.
Now, as far as combat, I mean, like I said, I played one strategy game before, and I mean, to me, it's like chess, but with so much more. You have selected moves and selected ways to combat. So, I mean, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So in Wakfu, there's 14 different classes, and those classes really will play differently. So there's warriors, there's archers, but there's also tacticians like the rogue that will go ahead and basically plant these bombs on the battlefield, and they can chain these attacks across the entire battlefield, and they need to be aware of how people move in that battlefield. And you're going to know this because once you start playing the game, you'll know the strategies that people implement, and it's really in-depth. So there's movement points, there's action points, and there's turns. Everybody has 30 seconds in which to act. That's how we force combat to keep moving, but everybody is actually going to get some incentives to earn their turns much faster. So if they do that, they'll get these battle incentives, and they'll win that much quicker.
Now, you told me that, you're telling me about the government system and everything. So let me ask, is there any form of multiplayer online game in this? It's
an MMO, so you're playing online all the time. And party sizes can be up to 6 people, so combat is 6 versus 6. When you're running to be the governor of your nation, you have to get those other players to vote you in. So there's 4 nations in Wakfu, and part of that is declaring war on another nation. The governor can do that.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. I was about to say, so if somebody wanted to take over your nation, they can actually attack and take you out there, pull you out there, and take over, or how does that work?
So those 3 nations, or those 4 nations that I mentioned, essentially all of those have ecosystems in them. Like I said, there's plants and animals and monsters that are resources to be used for crafting items, so that's part of the economy, right? So if you balance that ecosystem, and it is balancing it, you get combat bonuses as part of that. So people are going to want to make sure that they get those bonuses. But the part where war comes in is there's these islands, unique islands that have specific resources that are only available there. And people are going to want those resources. And those can be taken over by the different nations. So if you take over a nation, you have access to that resource, you can use it. So you can already see, if I want to take over that island, I'm going to need to go into your nation, decimate that ecosystem, make you weaker, and then go and take over that island, and now I have control of that resource.
All right, cool. Well, one more question. Let me ask, what makes this game different from most other strategy games?
So it's really Wakfu, there's so many elements that play into one another. So when you log into the game, you can focus on combat. You can focus on those professions. You could be a crafter, make armor, be a blacksmith, maybe a baker, a fisher. You can just log in, manage that ecosystem, or maybe all you want to do is be a governor. You can actually be a criminal in Wakfu too. So if you want to corner the market, you can do that.
That's crazy, yo. So I thank you for the interview, man. Oh, good job. I'm feeling the game. It's very colorful. All right.